All right. Welcome to Dodgers Dogs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network. Casey Porter here, joined by Coach Barikoff. Coach Barikoff, I'm not going to lie to you. The Dodgers are up 3-2, and they're going back home. And for some reason, I've just had this pit in the middle of my stomach. I just don't feel good about where the Dodgers are at right now. I'm usually like the eternal optimist, right? Talk me off this ledge, man. Where is this feeling coming from?
It's because we're Dodger fans.
I just can't get over it, man. Yeah. I'm so nervous right now.
Listen, Casey, it's funny. I'm sitting here watching the Rams game, my wife and I said to her, Stace, I haven't been this nervous since like the World Series the last few years ago. And I'm like, I'm not even playing. She goes, you realize there's not a thing you can do tonight. And I said, well, you're right. I'm going to touch all my bobbleheads. We're going to smoke some tri-tip, Southern California Central Coast style.
Nice.
But you're right, Casey. I mean, this is one of those things where it's like it just would have been really nice just to finish business in New York. But here's what's the positive, Casey. We're home. We're back at Chavez Ravine. Our fans are hungry. I got to believe, I've said it all year, and I'm going to stick to this. The Dodgers always step up in the big game. I've been seeing the social media posts from the Dodgers about the relievers. The Dawgs are going to take care of business. I kind of like this vibe that they've got, this attitude. So that's what's going to happen, Case. Teo's going to hit tonight. The Dodgers are going to take care of business, and we're going to pop champagne tonight.
We need Will to hit tonight because he's one of the guys, him, Mookie Betts, and Freddie Freeman, that have had success against Sean Manaea, right? So I think the pick to click tonight needs to be Will Smith because I say it all the time. Dudes have to be dudes. One guy in the middle of your lineup, whether it be Muncy, Teo, or Will, has to have a good game. If two of them have a good game, unless you just pitch terribly, you're going to win, and then the bottom lineup execute. I think that guy in the middle of the lineup today easily could be Will Smith. Let's hope.
Yeah, and listen, Sean Manaea, this is a career year for him. He's not had, I didn't look at the numbers because I didn't need to because I don't care. The dude he's facing the Dodgers. This has been a team that he's not had this phenomenal success with. And I'm telling you right now, Will Smith, Teo, these dudes are going to hit today. It just something feels right about being back at Chavez Ravine, back home in Los Angeles. I'm just going to go with the positive vibes, man. I'm just going with that, Case.
There's a couple of different ways to look at this. Michael Kopech, of course, he's been a starter before. He wants to be a starter again. The Dodgers love taking those kinds of arms and moving them to the bullpen because then you get to max out. You don't have to conserve. And so now as a starter, maybe you're 96, 97, 98. But as a one-inning reliever, you're 102, like we've seen him do. So he has been a starter. He thinks like a starter. He wants to be a starter. That comforts you. But then again, from a Dodgers fan, I've never seen him in this environment. The only time I've seen him come in was when the Dodgers had the lead, right? I've never seen him have to throw the first pitch with the game in the balance in an environment that's going to be this huge. There's so many aspects of this that just, to me, are just, there's no way that I can confidently as a Dodgers fan say, hey, I know exactly what's going to happen. And then that's what, my coach brain kicks in, that's what really makes me the most nervous.
Yeah, my mom just joined, by the way, in Tennessee. She's been a Dodger fan. She's the one that got me involved in the Dodgers, Casey. But what she always says is,
you did a good job, young man, or young lady, because Coach Barikoff's a stud.
Well, listen.
Congratulations.
She taught me to believe. And you're right. Kopech has never been in this situation. And you know what? Lindor's going to be sitting on that first fastball, right? To set the tone. That's what my gut's telling me.
We can't go Game 7, Coach. We cannot go Game 7.
We're not, because we're winning tonight. I just feel it. I really feel there's something special with this team. And and until they prove me differently, Casey, and if we do have to go Game 7, at least it's at home. Okay? Those are the positives. But you're right. I mean, like any of these guys going tonight, Manaea hasn't pitched in this type of game either. When has he ever been in anything important? Tell me if I'm wrong. I don't think he's been in anything important. And he's on the road in Dodger Stadium where he's got some nightmares. That dude didn't sleep well last night. I'm going to tell you that much. Let's just hope this bullpen rises to the occasion. They have before. I think they're locked in. Again, I'm telling you, I looked at the social media stuff today. I like the kind of the vibe that they're pushing.
I have not. I have not. My nerves haven't allowed me even to look at that kind of stuff. I'm just telling you, I can't do it on days like that today.
Well, that's you know what, that's why I'm going to go and we're going to use our Traeger and have a tri-tip and bring the California vibes in this way. And I don't know. I just got to believe. I'm just, Casey, you know me. You've known me long enough now. I just believe in this team. I have all year. And tonight's that night. I think they're going to rise to the occasion. And I think as Dodger fans, we're going to be pumped. Now, Casey, I would like to see our crowd get crazy tonight.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Don't let Shamania get comfortable at all.
Yeah, they pay enough money for these tickets. They might as well take advantage of being there. And they've seen how San Diego's crowd was, New York's crowd. We might as well follow suit. And I would love to see Dodger Stadium rocking like it hasn't rocked since 81 or 88. That's what I want to see.
Yep. You got me feeling a little bit better about this. And, there was it was a regional finals, and it was like coming down like the seventh inning, and we were winning. And I just knew we were going to win the game, right? And I walk out to a young man who grew up in Guthrie. I mean, his whole life was to make the state tournament as a Guthrie pitcher, and the moment was overcoming him, right? And you could just see it on his face. So I walked out and I said, Josh, I'm not telling you not to be nervous, okay? Because I would be BSing you if I said, hey, don't worry about it. I can't say that to you. What I can tell you is that guy at home plate is more nervous than you are, because you are ahead. He is behind. The pitcher always has the advantage over the hitter. And all you have to be, it's like that bear in the woods with Walter Payton. You don't have to be faster. The bear just faster than the guy you're with, right? Okay. All you have to be is less nervous than the guy at the plate. That's all I'm asking you to do. Just throw a strike. I said, Josh, just throw a strike. I promise you he will panic, and he'll get jumpy on it, and he'll hit some weak ball somewhere. Sure as heck, 2 pitches later, pop up. We went to the state tournament. I say that only to say that's a great point you make, that even if there's a little tension, a little bit uptight, you feel like, hey, you got to win first game back at home. I agree with you that there's going to be some of that with Mania too.
Yeah. Again, I would rather be at home feeling comfortable than what Mania went through last night. I'm telling you, I guarantee you he's questioning things. Yes, he's had a good year. There is no denying he has had a great year,
yes.
And the Mets really trust him. But the dude didn't sleep well last night. And if you think he's walking around confident right now in Dodger Stadium, I just don't see it. And the Mets had to win that game 5. They had to. That's what professional, really good teams do, is they win an elimination game at home. And the Mets are a very good team. But we took 2 out of 3. We're home now in a game 6. A lot of people thought this was going to go 6 anyways. And here we are in game 6. I just want to see this Dodger team, like they have all year, really step up, because I think there's a lot of questioning going on. Why did Dave leave our pitcher out there to die? Honeywell just kind of took one for the team. There's a lot of questioning going on right now. And I think this is when the Dodgers are at their best. And there's just something telling me that tonight's going to be a special night. And you know what? If it doesn't happen that way, I'll believe in game 7, because that's just the Dodger fan that I am. And I'm never going to change.
Yep, absolutely. That's the great fan in you, the competitive aspect in you. Another one of those softer lefty throwers, about 92. He's going to throw the sinker to the bottom of the zone. He's going to try to move the ball, get weak contact. He's going to try to throw it to the periphery. We have seen the Dodgers have very much success against this exact type of setup.
Yeah, and I just want to see them, like what we've talked about all year, is pass the baton tonight. It doesn't need to be Teo coming up and making one swing to take away the O for whatever he is right now.
I wouldn't mind it. I'm not going to lie.
Okay, me too, Casey. But I just want to see the Dodgers pass this baton and make this a rough outing and make the Mets question things. What I don't want to see tonight is the Mets jump on us early. I think if we can get through the first couple innings without giving up anything, I really like the chances. But pass the baton tonight, Dodgers. Don't try to swing at pitches outside the zone. Don't try to win it on one swing tonight. Make them work for it and get into the bullpen again.
Did the moment get too big for Jack Flaherty? Is he injured, or did he just not pitch well?
I don't think he pitched well. It's hard to say if the moment's too big for a guy that grew up a Dodger fan.
And keep in mind, he threw great in game one, which to me was bigger stakes than what last game was.
Yes. Maybe he wasn't feeling well. I think he went out there with all the intentions. I want this to be the greatest game. I want this to be my moment as a Dodger. And he just didn't pitch well. Mm-hmm. And it's frustrating. It is, because as a fan, you want to say, all right, why didn't we take him out earlier? Why didn't we put in our high leverage guys? That's a great question. But I think the Dodgers had a plan, and the plan was Game 6, and not. So to you burn say these guys.
You definitely agree with the fact that they punted Game 5.
I don't ever like to punt things. I kept saying, and you can look back at any of my text history with friends. I thought we could come back and win, but there was this moment of me saying, you know what, we could go home for Game 6. And why use some of these high-end guys with 1 day's rest when you could get them fully rested for a Game 6? That was kind of the coach in me speaking a little bit. There also was the fan in me saying,
but is that to June 13th and not October enough?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Right.
You might be right.
I think that's the point Dodgers fans are making. I think they have a legitimate point there. Well, how would you push back against that?
We don't know what was going on in the dugout, what they had already planned for.
Right.
I think as Dodger fans, we think we know everything that goes on behind closed doors and what has already been decided, and so much things. We think everything is so analytical. I think Dave had a plan. I think they had a plan all along. I think they knew what was going to – if something like this happened. That's just me, though. I could be totally wrong, and Dave totally blew it for all I know. I'm just going with the fact I think the Dodgers had a plan, Casey.
The plan is either fire all your bullets and win, or don't fire all your bullets and lose. The plan, and then the bigger part of that plan is don't fire all your bullets and then also lose. That's the plan, right?
Yes, it's a 7-game series.
Yes,
it was Game 5 in a game the Mets had to win. There was just a part of me that thought, like, I totally get it. Leave Jack out there to die. And I think it was some of my frustration. But I like how it's setting up tonight. I just so much believe in what's going to happen tonight, Casey. And you know what? I've been a fan for 50 years. I say that all the time. And you know what? I've been disappointed. And maybe tonight's how that's going to be. But I don't know. I believe too much in this team and the season and all of the things they've gone through to get to this point, that we're back home in Dodger Stadium. Something just feels different about tonight.
Okay, so I'm going to kind of – I like to play devil's advocate. I like to cover all aspects where we can cover. Some fans feel like this. Some fans feel like that. What's your explanation for all the different feelings that are out there, right? That's what makes for a fun show, and one that I think is fulfilling for all fans, where they feel like their feelings got covered and explained why maybe they're right or wrong. So I'm going to now circle back around and kind of back up what you've been saying about the Dodgers always coming through this year. Okay, we've heard this a lot, and we've heard it because it's true. 40 different pitchers, 17 different starters. Freddie Freeman is hurt. Teo and Will are ice cold. Okay, they lost the first game to the Padres in both the last series of the regular season. Came back and beat them in a 3-game series in which Walker Buehler, who at the time was pitching terribly, and Landon Knack both started a game out of those 3-game series. Let me remind everybody that just like tonight, they've had a target on their back as if you don't need a bigger target on your back to say the Dodgers on the front. Okay, now you have an Ohtani on the back. Okay, so the Dodgers have had a target on their back. They had to take a week off to start the NLDS and play a very hot Padres team who basically got to scrimmage the Braves for 2 games, and so that was a disadvantage. They came back and beat the Padres in that last series of the regular season. They got down to the Padres 2-1, came back and won the last 2 games of that game. They beat New York in New York. Okay, and yes, I would have loved to have closed this series out in New York, but let's keep in mind they won 2 out of 3 games in New York. If you would have told me the Dodgers were going to go into New York and win 2 out of 3, I would have said, hallelujah, I'll take that every day and twice on Sundays. They played great against the Yankees in that series in the midseason, if you remember that, and because of all those reasons, I don't see any reason for Dodgers fans to doubt that this team can't rise to the occasion.
Well, Casey, let me say this. What a wonderful thing, because you just talked yourself into feeling good about tonight.
Absolutely.
And I think that's how you've always been feeling.
Yeah,
I think you're just looking at it from a coach's perspective, which is great. You're nervous. I am too. But
there's nothing I can do. I just have to sit here. I can't hit fungos. I can't go, like as a coach, you go throw passes underneath the bucket to your shooters. Just you're doing that just to get just to have something to do. You know what I mean?
It's what my wife Stacy said, and she goes, "You realize there's nothing you can do tonight," and I'm with you on that. But you said some incredible things. All the injuries, all the doubts, all the people wanting to beat the Dodgers because of this, that, or the other, and here they are with the best record in baseball. They beat the hottest team in the Padres. They beat the Mets, who, we could argue that they're just as hot as the Padres were. They went into New York, where New York has been really good, and they won 2 out of 3. Now, I'm feeling pretty good. This is an incredible run by the Dodgers with all of the situations that they're dealing with. Freddie Freeman is not even playing tonight, and he's going to be a Hall of Famer. You have no starting pitching for the most part, and you've had to have bullpen games. And this is why I think you could go back and look at some of our talks we've had early in the midseason where there was something different about this team and gritty. This team is gritty, and that's kind of why it's been different, where we've had it so easy and we've had all this, and then we just flopped. We got through the Padres in 5 when everybody didn't think we could win. And now we're in Game 6. We're up 3-2 at home. It sets up perfectly. Now, you're going to have Dodger fans out there, Casey, that are saying, yeah, but what if it goes 7 and we don't win? What a disappointment. You know what? I'm just enjoying this ride of this team overachieving, because they have overachieved. And, I'm fired up for Game 6. You've got me now even more fired up. And you know what, Casey? I'm even more nervous now. Thank you.
I'll tell you one thing to kind of echo what you just said, okay? This team this year for the Dodgers, to me, there's an old saying you can't stand prosperity. It's not that they can't stand prosperity. They have gone on some nice streaks, there's no doubt. But I think it's easy to say, I think you at least could say, this team has been at its best this year when things haven't been easy, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yes.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I've thought that all year. I've thought that all along.
So me kind of questioning them and oh my God, that almost makes me feel comfortable, because it's okay, well, this is actually when the Dodgers have done good, when people start doubting them, right?
And I think that's what's going on in that clubhouse. I'm not going to repeat what Kike has said, because there's a T-shirt out there now, because this is a family show. But
he shouldn't have said it. The message was 1,000% great.
I think that's what they're saying in the dugout tonight.
Yeah, right.
Wow, you look at social media and we lost the game, and everybody's doubting us now. And I don't know. I think the Dodgers are really good when people doubt them. I really do.
I absolutely do too, Coach. But the thing about it is, you got to go out and do it. You said you just mentioned a minute ago. No Freddie Freeman, which he's one of the guys that has faced Sean Manaea, but then that's a lefty-lefty deal. And I'll tell you what, let's not forget this, just to kind of go to our theme here. You remember what happened last time the Dodgers didn't have Freddie Freeman in the lineup? They absolutely went off offensively, right? I mean, so sometimes we love Freddie. I want Freddie in the lineup every single day. But I'll say this, I don't want him in there if he's injured to the point to where he's actually a net negative for the team. Does that make sense? And no matter how good you are, there becomes a point to where it's better just to let Kike Hernandez have 4 at-bats at third base, Max Muncy have 4 at-bats at first base, and whoever else have a fresh game than trying to just force through a guy that just isn't capable of doing what he needs to do.
Let me throw a scenario out. Freddie's been pretty good defensively. Late inning, do you bring him in? Now, that would mean taking probably Pages out, moving Muncy to third, Kike to center, Freddie to first. Would you do that in the 8th inning with a 3-run lead?
I would do that in the 6th inning with a 3-run lead.
Okay.
I mean, that was, me, Coach. I think I was the only human being on earth that was a week before the NLDS. I was like, Kevin Kiermaier has to make this roster, right? And then even if you have to have 14 position players, Kevin Kiermaier needs to be on this roster, right? I mean, I really think I was the only one pushing for that. Then when he didn't make the roster, I still was the only one, I think, saying, boy, it would have been nice to have Kevin Kiermaier in that situation during the Padres series. And now that he's on the roster, I'm damn happy when I see him go out to center field. One, because he's really freaking good. And two is because when he comes in, that means what? The Dodgers have the lead, right? So you know me, man. I love those late game defensive substitutions. I'm not as big on pinch hitting because it's a lot harder, but I love having the ability to throw in late game defensive situations because, you know, I'll tell you another thing too. It sends a message to your team. By God, boys, we're winning this game. We're getting ready to bring in our dudes. We're bringing in our best defense. We ain't freaking losing tonight. Let's go. It just sends that message.
Yeah, I would rather late inning with a lead bring in a lot better defense and not worry about the hitting aspect of it. I think defensively in a game 6 late, you win on the defensive side of things and making those clutch plays. So that's kind of why I threw it out there. I was thinking all day today, not seeing Freddie start tonight. I think he's ready to go defensively. And I would rather take a Freddie Freeman late in the game, even with the one leg, because if we remember correctly, in 1988, what happened with a guy with one leg?
Whoo, let's go, baby! Yeah,
it just gave me chills too, because again,
what game was that? What game was that?
Well, that was series? Game 1 against Oakland. Kirk Gibson. This was when I was in junior high, and our neighborhood exploded, and we all ran outside. So those are the Dodger vibes I'm feeling. I saw somebody say, man, like the Yankees are already in there. Like I'm getting goosebumps thinking like the last time I got to do that was 81 and I was a little kid seeing the Yankees Dodgers. But I don't know, okay. So this team has been this way all year long. They haven't let me down one time. And you know what, if they do, they do. I'll never change my fandom, and you know that now that you know me so well, but there's something tonight, Case. I just feel it tonight. And if not, I feel it game 7. And if not, I'll feel it in game 1 of 162.
Of spring training next year?
Yeah, right. We got to go. You and I got to go, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Daniel Berry Sports Highlight, thank you so much for joining. Nando390 is mentioned what we talked about earlier. The Kopech says he wants to try and be a starter again. Mike Boyer, thank you so much. Pitching worries me, but if the batters show up, then it's over. One more win and the Dodgers are in the World Series. Okay, yes, the Dodgers did get Tyler Glass now. They did get Yoshinobu Yamamoto. They did pick up Jack Flaherty at the trade deadline. They did pick up Michael Kopech. But Coach Holt says this all the time. Let's make no mistakes about it. This team was built on offense. Yeah. So we always panic about the pitching and this and that. And we forget that if the Dodgers just come out and play offense like this roster is capable of, unless the pitching just is ridiculously bad, which it almost never is, right? Then that's how this team wins. I mean, that's how you guarantee winning for this team.
You know, you said something that I always seem to forget also, because we're so focused on all the injuries from the pitching staff.
We focus on what we don't have. We forget all the greatness we do have, right?
Yes, and I think I've said it before where it's been frustrating that everybody wants to talk about Dave Roberts and this, but we in the last few playoffs, we haven't hit.
Right.
And you're right. This team is built. You've got Ohtani, Betts, Teo, Muncy, Will Smith. You've got guys that are ready.
Then executors like Tommy Edman.
Yes.
TK, who's Edman, clutch.
How about Edman cleanup tonight? I kind of like that. He's the hottest hitter, it seems, right now, if you look at the average. But you know what? Teo has done absolutely nothing, and we still have a 3-2 lead at home. I've put it on social media. I've talked to a couple Dodger Daily fans that are out there. I see Teo going crazy tonight. There's just something about Teo tonight that this is the moment he's been waiting for, and I'm putting it out there, putting it out in exit. Teo's going to go off tonight, Casey.
That's a great point, Mike Boyer. Ryan R., thank you so much for joining. Hope the Dodgers right-handed hitters hit Manaea today. Does it have to be the righties?
I
think that's a big factor that Edman gets to hit right-handed.
Yes, I just think that. Yes, that is a big factor. That the right-handed guy's got to hit, but we're just going to hit. If this lineup, you're right. If this lineup hits, no one could beat us. Not even the Yankees. Like I don't care who is. This Dodgers lineup is too potent.
I agree. I think this roster of offensive players can do things. Now, not saying they will, but they're capable of doing things that other rosters can't do. Gregory, our wonderful moderator, what's up to you tonight? History man. Hey, go Dodgers. God bless. God bless to you too. ShoeTube says, LFG. I am so ready to go, Coach. Hey, BC is talking about how New York's crowd was the worst because they left early, and that was a big factor because the Dodgers scored, and not only did they score early to take the crowd out of it, they kept scoring, right? That's been the formula, and John Smoltz put it great the other day. We've been putting it in different terms here on Dodgers Dogs. I think he summed up exactly what we've been trying to say in the most efficient way of saying it. Hey, the Dodgers are trying to score early in the game, then they're trying to win as fast as they can. Yeah. That really helped them against the crowd in New York. And then on the vice versa, if they do that at home and score early and then try to win really fast, that's going to keep the Dodgers crowd in it.
Yeah, and I hope our Dodger crowd is an early arriving, not a late arriving like normal. And I hope they're staying late and not per usual where they leave about the 7th to beat traffic to get on that freeway. But you're right. If the Dodger crowd can really get into this game tonight, I think that's going to be a massive advantage for the Dodgers. Because if you watch all the Dodger games like Casey, you and I do, the Dodger crowd is very sit on their hands. Something big happens, they get going. But I want to see them acting like a team, like from the get-go, standing up, waving the flag. I just want to see this. But you're like, Dodgers, let's just do this tonight. Like all this analyzing stuff. If the Dodgers hit, we're going to have a really good show getting ready for a World Series. Yeah.
One thing I think I've noticed the most about the Dodgers is that they want to see the glitz and glamour. They want to see Shohei Ohtani hit a home run. They want to see Mookie Betts. Like the everyday, average, normal baseball plays, the winning baseball plays, that doesn't really excite the crowd in the regular season, right? That part of it needs to change. If Tommy Edman lays down a bunt on first and third to score a run, if they hit a fly ball to move a runner, if somebody makes a nice base running play to take an extra base, Dodgers fans need to yell and cheer as loud as they can for those winning baseball plays, the same thing they would for all the glitz and glamour of a Shohei Ohtani, right?
Yeah, we need real baseball plays tonight. Moving the runners over, sacrificing your at bat to score a run. I want to see some old school baseball tonight. That wins a game 6. Yes, I would take a Shohei bomb, right? A 475-footer and all that stuff. But I want to see good baseball tonight, meaningful baseball, that we get into this thing late tonight. And I think we're going to see that. I really You've got Chris Taylor in there, right? Am I wrong? Chris Taylor's starting tonight?
Yeah. I'm not looking at the lineup right now. I can get it here in just a second.
I think we got Chris Taylor in there. I like – Dave went with the guys that he trusts. You always talk about the what is the term you use? The
trust tree.
The trust tree. I could see Chris Taylor being a trust tree guy tonight.
Well, he had great at-bats last game. When it's lower velo like that, that means that he doesn't get beat quite as much at the top of the zone. And then when you have lefties that use the bottom of the zone, a lot of times that bottom of the zone goes right into his swing. So I think that's trust tree, and then also the fact that there's some analytics to that.
And Taylor's batting 9th tonight. I like that. That means Taylor's going to do something good. He's going to move guys over. Smith is batting 8th. Interesting. Yeah. Pages is above him. Boy, if Pages, you know what? I liked how cocky he was. Didn't even respond to Iglesias or whoever that catcher was.
He's got the it factor.
Yeah, he does. And I think tonight, I don't think the stage is going to be too big for him, Casey. I just don't. I mean, what does he got to lose tonight? I mean, he's a rookie.
Hey, we have a super chat, Coach, $1.99 from Rogelio Rosales. Coach, it was a fun ride, but this ends today. Let's go Dodgers. Huh?
Yes.
What do you say to that?
See, listen, this is why the Dodgers Daily and the Dogs are the best, because it's good vibes in here. I don't come in here and leave thinking, oh, my gosh. I walk out of here saying, all right, we're going to attack the world tonight, Dodgers. I like that super chat.
Hey, Tony Forkus, thank you so much for joining. Yuki Matsui, hey, back to yourself. Devin, thank you so much for joining. Devin says he's hyped, went to Game 5, and wish he could be there tonight. Me too, no doubt about that. Tony Forkus, one of the best Dodger dailies out there, one of the best Dodgers dogs. We are carrying so much trauma. Let it all go, guys. Let it freaking go. Wait a minute. Wasn't that Kimbrel song?
Yeah, right.
Dodgers dogs are the best, coach. Absolutely no doubt about it. Hey, BC says if Mets can't win tonight with their best pitcher versus our weak lineup, they don't belong in the NLCS, let alone the World Series. Normally, actually, Game 1 was an anomaly for Flaherty, who typically does not pitch well in the playoffs. He did pitch well in Game 1. Togi Forkish, it's a brand new time for Dodger baseball. Start spreading the news. Oh, shoot, that's the Yankees song. Start spreading the news. Absolutely, it is. No, Gregory, Freddie Freeman is not starting tonight. Now, I can't answer whether he is playing tonight. We hope he comes in and plays because, as Coach Barakoff mentioned earlier, that would mean he's coming in as a defensive substitution. And if he comes in as a defensive substitution, that means what, Coach?
It means we are ahead and we're feeling good.
And we're shutting this thing out, baby.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. I'm gonna, when we get off of here, I'm gonna put on Fox Sports or the Dodgers, the LA station, and watch their pregame. They always give really good insight at what's going on. Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting to see if Freddie is even available tonight. My gut says he is. I don't see Freddie not wanting to play tonight. It's too big of a game. But yes, I see Freddie playing late. I really do.
What do you think about Teo in the 3-hole? That's interesting, isn't it?
It's because Case, we're coaches. You trust your dudes.
Yeah.
You got to trust him. I mean, I don't go into when I went into national championship games and my best player didn't play well in the semifinal. I didn't say, you know what, we're not going to play you tonight. I'm not going to trust you. That right there is a trust of, hey, Teo, I trust you. He's going to go off tonight. Like, I don't know I'm not nervous. Teo's going off tonight. And if he hits that first at bat and he looks good, I just want everybody to come back and read this right here or watch this telecast right here.
Did Chris Taylor have good at bats last game he was out there, Coach?
I thought he was okay. I didn't have any.
He got a base hit, hit that ball hard to third right in front of the home run, hit a line drive to right field. And it was because you had soft-throwing lefties that were trying to hit the bottom of the zone, which goes right into his uppercut. I know there are going to be a ton of Dodgers fans like BC that are like, what in the hell are you doing starting? I understand that. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't feel that way and all of that. But I will say, I said it. He was my pick to click before last game, and everybody was like, what in the hell are you talking about? And it was because of that factor right there is that what gets Chris Taylor's velo up, because he swings straight up the ball, so the ball goes right over his barrel. But when the velo is not as high, like the 92 of a Sean Manaea, I think he can actually get to that ball a little further up in the zone. And then when Manaea makes a mistake down in the zone, that's the one that Chris Taylor can ambush, and the moment's not going to be too big for him. Now, he may go out and be the Chris Taylor of 2024 all year and have a terrible night, but I would not be surprised if he came out and at least had a good night like he had the other night.
Listen, I've said it all along, and this is the one safe place because people always want to root for the Dodgers in this Dodgers Daily, the Dogs.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for Chris Taylor.
Coach, one more fact here from history, man, before you go on. Here's another thing as a coach. Every game that he has appeared in this series, the Dodgers have won. So Dodgers fan can say Chris Taylor this, Chris Taylor that, but they need to actually look at the fact the Dodgers have won every game he's been in. Maybe that's a coincidence, and maybe they're winning despite him. Maybe not.
Listen, if that's a great history, man, I love that because I'm telling you, every time I come in here and talk, I leave this thing with a great feeling. And Chris Taylor, when he comes up to bat, I know for me and my wife and my mom and my brother and all these fans that follow this, we all want CT3 to get a hit tonight. And if he can have that, listen, why root against him, man? He's our dude. He's batting ninth tonight. I have good vibes for CT3. The dude's going to be a stud tonight. I just want them all to be studs, Casey.
Yeah, I would agree. Hey, this is a great point by Normally. We're going to go for about another – you got another 10 minutes, Coach? You good?
I got 10 in me. I do.
Okay, yeah, let's go 10 more minutes here. Okay, this is a great point from Normally. Really hard for a starting pitcher to beat the same team twice in the same series, which is kind of might explain Jack Flaherty. Makes you worried about Game 7, right? I mean, with Walker Buehler. That's another one of those nail biters, right?
I thought about this all day. Manaea, he's had a great year. He's their stud this year, but it's still Sean Manaea, and he's still got to go out on that Dodger mound and pitch against this lineup. with all of the history that he has behind him. He's bounced around. He's not been crazy successful. Somebody out, History Man will probably be the guy. Let's look at his stats the last 5 years. And he's got to go out there and do something that he is not equipped to do, which is pitch a game 6 and be a stud. Now, if he does, hats off. We'll tip our hat to him.
Yeah.
I'll pour a shot, tequila. But I just don't see it tonight, Casey. I just don't see it. I think the Dodgers lineup is too potent for Sean Manaea tonight.
I hope you're right. Hey, NorCal Eddie, this is a great point. It's baseball, a brutal sport that's filled with heartbreak. Go Dodgers, Los Angeles. We got this. Doubters are bandwagons. Dodgers all day. Carlos Garcia, hey, watching from lunch break. Told you, man, Dodgers dogs are the best, aren't they?
Yeah, they're the best.
Hey, I'll tell you another thing. You've been in huge situations. Like you've been in those huddles and trying to drop a game-winning shot, that kind of thing, many different times as a player and as a coach, right? I can tell you this. There is absolutely no room for negativity during those moments, right? None. I mean, there is no room for negativity. So even if you don't like this or don't like that or don't like this or don't like that, I don't see any point in any Dodgers fan, player, manager, anybody involved in this process to have any kind of negative thoughts whatsoever coming in tonight. That does not make sense to me.
It doesn't to me either. I've probably said this enough times. I just don't understand the Dodger fans. And again, it's not in this group because this group is diehards in here. It just never makes sense to me when you root against your own guys and want them to not be successful or questioning. I get fans can question things, but I don't have, why would we want CT3 to come up and not do well? Like, wow, I can't believe they started him. I hope he doesn't get a hit tonight. That's not what a fan is to me.
Right. I agree.
I'm the biggest Franklin Stubbs fan. If there's any Dodger fans that know the history, Franklin Stubbs is like a 220 hitter overall, but he started in 1988. He won a World Series. And Dodger fans were all in on Franklin Stubbs. And that's how it was back in the day. Yeah. For the CT3 hate, I just don't get it. I want that dude to have a career night. Yeah. I want him to have a career night. I want all these guys to have career nights.
History Man's bringing the goods tonight, Coach. Last time the Dodgers did a bullpen game to win a series was Game 6 of the 2020 World Series that they won. Try that on for size, Coach. Huh?
History Man, that's pretty good because I never would have guessed that. Who ended in that game? I don't even know if we're allowed to say his name, right?
Yeah.
Urias, right? Yeah. He's the one that ended the game, right?
I haven't said it. You just broke ice right there, Coach.
Man, that is some good stats. That's interesting. That is very interesting.
That is. We covered why Teoscar in the third spot. He's in the trust tree. I know he's 0 for whatever. Nobody's been more critical of Teo Hernandez than me. I promise you. I have said, I don't know how many times he looks lost. He looks uncomfortable. He does not look close. He's having empty at-bats. All of that is correct. Sometimes as a baseball coach, and a lot of it's based on matchups too, but sometimes as a coach, you actually move a guy up in the order to try to just foster some generated confidence. Does that make sense to you? Like yes. The common thought is, well, I'm sucking, so he's going to move me down to 9-hole. Kind of like what they did with Will Smith, right? Will Smith's been very valuable to this series, just not hitting, right? So sometimes when you move a guy up, that makes them go, oh, damn, my manager's got my back till the end. I better not let this sucker down, right? So sometimes there's a psychological ploy to that does work. Not always, but I think there could be some of that going on here.
That's my whole hope. That's my whole hope is that Teo just could see that we believe in him and the confidence from that man. I don't think anybody in the dugout's not believing in him. I think everybody knows what he brings to the table. And put him in the 3 spot, let's go. I just have this feeling tonight he's just going to have a good eye. He's going to see the ball well tonight. He's home. He's going to be loved, and I'm fired up for it.
I can tell you this too, and we have great fans out there, but we're not going to cover any Dave Roberts hate. That's done. That's absolutely done and over with. Certainly for the end of this regular season, we will cover, hey, do we think he made the right decision or not? I said on Twitter the other night, the Pete Alonso walk was all I needed to see. I would have pulled Jack Flaherty out at that moment, so I will tell you point blank, I totally disagree with leaving Jack Flaherty in, and that's not second guessing. That's why I like to put my stuff on Twitter. So if somebody wants to go, well, yeah, it's easy to know when you already know the results. No, I made that statement before it ever happened, and my comment was, hope this doesn't go sideways, and it sucked that I was right on that deal, right? So I point blank think Dave made a mistake in leaving Jack Flaherty in. I think he left his team hanging, a team that could have came back and won that game, and I think he was a big reason why the Dodgers didn't win that game. I am not doubting that whatsoever. But everybody makes mistakes. He was going with his gut. He was going with whatever it may be. It just didn't work. It was a mistake, whatever. That doesn't cover up the fact that he has been absolutely spot on in this postseason. So from that perspective, yeah, we're going to cover when we think he made a bad decision or a good decision, whatever. That's fair. But it's not going to be in a tone that, oh, he pissed down his leg. Oh, he sucks. Oh, he's an idiot. Because that doesn't resonate with me whatsoever, right? Does it make sense?
Well, from what I've learned over the last few years on social media, there is a lot of good managers out there in this world that I think could step in that dugout and manage, Casey. That's what I've learned. It's with any professional sport. I have learned there's a lot of knowledgeable, really good baseball managers out there across this country that are on social media. Yeah. Listen, coaching is the hardest thing in the world. The profession is a very, very tough profession. Managing the Dodgers is probably just – there's the Yankees and the Dodgers. It's the toughest thing to do because of the media. The everybody knows what they're talking about. Dave has done a great job. And yes, you can argue everything you want about Game 5. And as much as I said, here's what I think happened, I still was like, Dave, what are we doing? I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that.
But it's okay to think that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but that's fine.
But the Dave bashing just doesn't make sense. I mean, we've already covered enough about the record, the injuries, what they're doing. We're one game away from the World Series, and yet everybody thinks we need a new manager. That's great. I'm not going to say any more on the topic. I'm just excited for Game 6, and I think you covered it really well, Casey. We never hide from things on here, and we talk about it in a good baseball way. So I appreciate the things you said because it was very spot on.
Yeah, Mike Lopez says you guys are giving Sean Manaea too much hype. You guys are acting like he's been a Cy Young winner. I'm not exactly sure what part of tonight's show you would get that interpretation from, because I think the first thing that Coach Barikoff started with was he's not built for this moment. I don't think there's any way he can navigate the Dodgers lineup in this. I mean, I'm not exactly sure how in the world somebody would come up with that impression of your thoughts on Sean Manaea. That's interesting.
That's okay. Go back and watch the beginning. I said, You're right. You already said what I said, but yes, he's had a very good year. I don't know why we want to doubt that. He's had a very good year. The Mets are very much relying on him tonight. But Sean Manaea is not ready for this moment. And if he is, great. Again, tip of the cap to the dude. But I just remember Sean Manaea on that Dodger pitching mound, and things have not always been great for him.
Hey, Coach, we have had a wonderful crowd today. It is about an hour away from the first pitch. I know you want to go watch all the other pre-games and get ready and get all of your grilling stuff done, and so we are going to skip out of here. Hey, for all of you Dodgers dogs out there, I've said this. Hey, Mike is in the crowd. Dodger crowd hasn't been an issue. The game I went to, they were going off. Thank you for joining, Mike. Hey, I know you got to get, Coach, but wanted to say this out loud. You Dodgers dogs are the absolute best crowd out there. It's not even close. Again, not the biggest, although it absolutely is growing, but it is the most respectful. It is the most intelligent baseball crowd on the planet. I think you call it the safe place. I call it the intelligent place. I just love talking to all you Dodgers dogs, and I can't thank you guys enough for showing up to these, becoming part of the chat, and making this such a wonderful experience. Coach, would you agree with all that?
I think this is something that I look forward to doing all the time. It's a great place to be. I love the knowledge that gets dropped in here. I learn something every time I'm on. And one way or the other, we're either going to be talking on Monday, because if the Dodgers have to play in a Game 7, I have Casey pushed my practice to 6 a.m. if the Dodgers don't take care of business, because I will not miss Game 7.
and I'm sure your players all understand.
They do, which is crazy. But and if they do take care of business, we're going to be getting ready for Game 1 of the World Series. So one way or the other, Dodgers, Dogs, we're going to be talking, and I'm fired up for it.
All right, man. I am nervous, but I think that it's kind of a good nervous. So I think we're going to end it with all those thoughts. So again, I want to thank all you wonderful Dodgers dogs out there. This has been just another absolutely blast for a show. You can see my baby Barn right here. He's ready to go for a walk with mommy and daddy right now. So I think we're going to head off and do that. Coach, thanks one more time.
Let's go, fellas. Let's go, Dodgers.
It's a great day to be a Dodger. Go Dodgers. Time to make the World Series.